Oh, forgot my microphone. So, wanted to do another video and talk about, is it good to go for a expensive bike straight off the bat, or go for something and then upgrade it? As I've learned about bike flashlights and the lithium ion technology, I've learned something that a lot of companies have been doing that basically screw you, because they want to give you it for a cheap price but lower quality. What this means is that what I've learned from the industry, from the bike flashlight ability, is that companies love to give you a lithium ion rechargeable battery. But the biggest issue that they do not tell you is they cheap on the batteries. Yes. So a big company like Night Cygolite, Cat Eye, uh, other company, Lazeon, all those big giant companies are like, oh, yes, oh yes, yes, yes. We're the cool guys. We're awesome. We got so cool products and whatnot. They all look nice. I will admit their flashlights are actually pretty decent. But their key product to it is a failure. Why? Let's go for the cheap price ones versus their $100 one. Okay, actually, let's go reverse style. So we got $100 one that has about two hours of battery life for 1,000 lumens. You think, that's actually pretty decent. Okay, that's pretty decent. That's $100 though. Okay, so we expect that 2 hours from 100 lumen output flashlight. Okay, let's go for let's say 100 lumens. And it's like $23. You expect, okay, well, I expect that thing to have, like, if I'm gonna have one that's gonna have 1,000 lumens, I'm gonna expect, like, I don't know, like 10 plus hours. I mean, it's a lithium ion battery that's gonna be like superiorly awesome. So yeah, 10 hours. Eh, beep, 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 beep. No, it's only 2 hours. It's like, wait, what? Why has it only got 2 hours when your bigger version has 2 hours? Why does the little one have 2 hours and the big one has 2 hours? How's that working logic wise? It doesn't. Wonder why? Because they give the big battery to the bigger flashlight that takes more power, so that can have the equivalency of power life for that 2 hour time. What they do for the cheaper one is they go a smaller cell. So instead of giving the maximum cell capacity that 18650 cells that 90% of all companies use, not to mention for the electric bikes also, guess what? They, instead of giving you the 3400 mayhem of the cell that is the max capacity, or 3500 mayhem, they only give you 2000 or 2200 or 2500 or some crap like that. Or they give you something like 1300. Oh, yeah, that's so awesome. Or 1900. It's like, it's the same cell. The same size cell, lower mayhem, higher mayhem. It's like taking a double A battery that has like 2800 mayhem from nickel metal hydride, let's go with that, to a energizer that has 1300 mayhem. That's what they do. So it's like, okay, let's just put this in the flashlight instead of this big cell that actually will give a lot more better performance and not screw the user. Because supposedly we're gonna make it cheaper by, I don't know, $10. Yeah, $10 difference. 10 to 20 bucks difference. Oh man, that's gonna be like, whew, that's gonna be so hard, especially for a single cell lithium ion. Now, why did I start with this topic when I'm starting with cheap bikes versus expensive bikes, especially for electric bikes? Well, this is it. This is your big finish. One is they cheap out on the performance for the batteries. Yes, the big companies do the same thing for their electric bikes, even for boosted board or other stuff like that. They jimp you on the battery performance. Two, lower motor performance. Yeah, you can actually upgrade with a 750 to 1,000 watt motor for way better performance than you would buying a Pacific bike made system that, guess what, is only 250 watts or about 350 maybe. If you're lucky, you might even get a 500-watt one, but that's probably the biggest they ever would go with. Look at a company of Giant. Most of the big companies like them, they give you bikes that are just like, yeah, we'll give them a 3,000 buck bike, but then we'll cheap out the motor performance and the battery performance. It's like, okay, like, but we're buying the bike for this ability. Why are you cheaping out on the motor performance when that's kind of the entire point to the bike? We're buying it for that motor and power and performance, but yet you're just flipping us off and saying, screw you. And I don't even know what's up with the entire frame ability. Like, charge like 500 bucks for a frame, just for the frame. I mean, maybe it could be a little bit better quality and stronger. I don't know, but like almost 1,000+ bucks for a frame, even if it's steel. It's like, in that price range, I would actually think it's carbon fiber that would be that expensive. But yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking at carbon fiber. Whew. I'll get into that in another video, talk about carbon fiber and aluminum. But yeah, there's so much complications with carbon fiber. It's just like, that's why I don't even like carbon fiber myself. When I look at a carbon fiber bike, I'm just like, I can see a lot of issues with that. I'll stick with aluminum. That's probably uh, the most interesting metal that I'm gonna go with. It's lightweight. I like something that's gonna be more tough, actually gonna take the beat downs. Carbon fiber might be stiff, but there you go. That's it. It's not durable. Well, maybe it is. Or is it? Anyways, why go for a cheap bike versus an expensive bike? It's the entire topic. Well, again, If you go for a cheap bike, you can actually upgrade it with way better performance than you would going for an expensive bike. Even if you go, say like me, even if I'm going for my Hyper E ride, I can upgrade the bike and ride it at the same time. And say if I want to change the bike to a more expensive like ability, like the frame that most expensive bikes are made from, then I can buy just the frame. And guess what? I can swipe all my good parts onto the new frame and ride that. So I still theoretically have a bike to ride, even though I bought it from cheap. You get what I mean? And not to mention, it allows me to actually understand the entire concept and the ability of how the bike performs, runs, how to replace stuff, how to maintain this, how to take this off, put this on, jazz like that. Instead of, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go buy that expensive bike, and it's like, um, how, uh, how do I do this? Uh, how do I do that? Uh, you know, I don't understand any of this. You know what? I'll just take it to a bike shop. I'll throw like another $200 at them and say, uh, fix this and do that and whatnot. I mean, it gives you trial and error if you're fixing a cheaper bike. You'll understand it more better because you won't feel as confined to take it apart and put stuff together as what you would feel on an expensive bike because you'll feel like, oh, I got this super $5,000 bike, but I don't want to mess with it, but yet something's wrong. So I'm just going to take it to a bike shop. But for a cheaper bike, you'll feel less confined. You'll feel more like, yeah, you know what? I'll give that a shot. It's not like I'm blowing off like $5,000 just for a new chain. You'll feel less restricted from actually working on the bike. So getting a crap Walmart bike, like a lot of people seem to hate and all that jazz, is actually pretty decent, really, because it gets you in that field to actually dig into the bike and actually work through it. And if you want to freaking upgrade it, you can put all of your good parts on it, ride it, and then when something like the mainframe of piece, or say if you want to go that expensive route for that kind of bike ability, all you have to do is just buy a frame and just convert all of your parts to it. And then you'll feel actually way better than you would before. And you'll be like, yeah, I made it from a Walmart bike. I just replaced the frame from all of my components that I put on the Walmart bike onto this. And yeah, it's amazing now. Wouldn't believe I was riding it from a crap Walmart bike. Right? I mean, the Hyper E ride, it has the flexibility to be upgraded, like I mentioned in previous videos, because a lot of people seem to be turned down by not a lot of Walmart bikes ultralizing the disc brake compatibility. This bike has that, and even though the front fork is not disc brake compatible straight off the bat, when you do upgrade it, the frame, which is the rear ability, has that. So basically, you can go for full-on disc brakes. It's not limiting you to Pacific V-brake technology like a lot of people hate. But even so, even though you'll still upgrade the front, you'll have that special disc brake system. Sure, you won't have it in the back for some bikes, but there are ways you can convert to disc brake on the back end. I mean, it's really not that hard. But yeah, everybody seems to like explode like, oh, it's got no disc brake in the back and all that jazz. I'm not gonna be able to upgrade it or not. That way, you'll actually be able to work on the bike better than you would for something expensive. And like I said, with the battery pack and the motor performance, you'll actually be able to get over 3 times much more power, more performance, and more battery life out of it instead of being gypped out from companies that probably only have like this or this amount of battery power performance. Like I've seen, like on the giant bikes and some other bike companies, they have these little tiny battery packs that are like this big, and maybe they're 500 watts, but come on, you can double that, get 1,000 watts on those bikes. And if you definitely shove in the maximum capacity of those Mayhem batteries inside those packs, I mean, holy cow. Guess what? Boom. You can have super amount of runtime with those. Or, sorry, not runtime, distance. So instead of 5 miles or 10 miles on those expensive bikes, this including like hills and such forth, you can get like 40 miles. Or you can half that and have twice as much to 3 times much more power and over 20 miles. I mean, heck, that's superiorly more power ability. Not to mention, you can put your own upgrade for the front ability if you wanted to, or you know what? Heck, I haven't seen anybody do it yet, but triple motors, guys, triple. You know, dual hub motors, one in the front, one in the back, and mid drive. I mean, that will probably put a lot less stress on the rear tire for the rear hub motor system, and it will also give more performance for the mid-drive system, and both of them will use less power to climb harder. And then you'll have the front ability for distance-wise. So you'll be able to have your battery mount. Well, I don't know on my bike, but on other bikes, you can have like an under battery pack, and then probably the flush mounted frame ability, like on juice bikes. Well, not on juice bikes, but like on some bikes that have like a battery that's integrated into the frame, which is really nice. You can have a secondary battery that's on the top of the frame of that battery. Like on my bike, you can put a narrow battery pack, supposedly that's on top of it, or such like that, theoretically. So 2 batteries in the middle of the frame, and then a rear rack battery. And even some rear, even full suspension bikes can have a rear rack. It's called a seat post rack, and they're really great. You just have to do your research on how far the logic of your rear wheel goes, because you don't want your rear wheel going like this all the time. You want to be able to spring just enough where it's not going to hit the rack. Or you can have a front parent bag. I've seen people that modified their front end for having a front rack, and you can put a small battery pack on top of that with your front hub, which will make it even much more easier to have more battery pack ability. So that gives you a lot of options there for upgradability. And you'll get a lot more power than 250 watts at 90 newton meters of torque or 80 newton meters of torque. I'm pretty sure the Bafang mid-drive conversion kit gives you a lot more better performance on that than you would from any kind of stock uh, frame built um, expensive bike can ever do. So you get a lot more power and torque from that sucker than you would from those things. But yeah, they're a lot more flexible, less weight on you, and you get to enjoy the bike as you go. Not to mention, you actually get to pick what upgrades you wish to do on it. Instead of like, oh, hey, look, this bike's equipped with SRAM. I really don't like SRAM. SRAM's kind of crappy stuff, but the bike looks cool. But SRAM, ugh. Or some techno freaking brakes or Shimano's stupid brakes or something like that with mechanical brakes. For $3,000, I can have a bike with super hydraulic SRAM or something like that, brakes, hydraulic brakes, and great shifting mechanism. Way better components than that thing can ever kick out $3,000. See what I mean? And like I said, I keep on saying it. You can enjoy riding the bike from the start to the end of it, and even the way beyond of it. Because say if there is a problem with it, of you don't like the frame and you want to change the frame to something better, boom, 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 you can change it. I mean, on my Hyper E-Ride, I'm not sure if I will change the frame or not, but like I said, I can have that flexibility. And if I do change the frame, all I would have to do is just, well, sadly, I would have to freak over the frame mounted flush battery pack, but I won't have to freak the battery pack itself. See, here's the key. Because I would just have to take out the components inside the battery piece and put it in a bag or something and use that from a different area inside the entire bike. Or I can take those batteries and put them in another battery pack that would give me a lot more performance. So say like the battery pack, the big square battery pack from Cyclomatic, or the famous no-name brand Anchor battery pack that uses the big frame, tube frame piece that mounts on the water ball carrier piece. That probably has a very crappy mayhem in the lithium cells and doesn't ultralize the entire full size of that. So that would give me a lot more room to use the integrated frame, put more battery pack in that with a higher mayhem, and get more better performance out of it. If I use a different frame with water ball carrier or something like that, who knows? It's unknown, but yeah. So don't buy something expensive just because it looks like somebody goes on a video and reviews and it's like so amazing and such forth. Buy on something of your choice that you will feel comfortable of actually using and working with it and be able to learn how it works, being able to learn how to upgrade it, take parts off, and get used to the bike. It's sort of something like I've learned and knew about with archery and other stuff and hobby grade RC cars. You don't buy a super expensive car and then be like, huh, yeah, this is actually pretty cool, but I literally know nothing about it. Go for something cheap and work on knowing how to use it. That way, you can actually feel confident later in the future that if you ever do want to go with something expensive, you'll be able to know right off the bat that, that part doesn't seem right, and that part doesn't seem right either. I wonder if I really should get that or not, or just buy and modify another bike. I'll probably build another bike from scratch. Probably be way better than buying something like that and probably having some issues. $5,000 for that bike? Performance? Nah. I can make a bike half that price with over twice the amount of performance power and make it way better and not have a bunch of logos stamped on it like crazy. But you get what I mean. So it's not always the best idea to go for an expensive bike right off the bat. It's more best if you go for something cheap. That way you don't also get screwed off from the power requirements that they give you. And the limited amount of capacity of the Mayhem for the battery packs are. So anyways, I will see you later. Peace out.